Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the News Project Live on GNAT-TV's Facebook page. I'm Andrew McKeever, the news director of GNAT-TV's News Project, and pleasure to be back with you again this Friday, April 2nd. Sort of getting April Fool's Day part two here, looks like, with a little snow coming down. That's not supposed to be happening anymore, is it? Anyway, well, what are you going to do about it? Anyway, we're going to jump straight up to Montpelier to start our little update of some of the top stories we've been following this week. And up there, the biggest story by far, I think it's fair to say, is the one involving the state pension problem. As many of you know, the state pension plan for state employees and teachers has been underfunded for quite a long time, going back to the 1990s, basically, and now is looking at a shortfall of, well, the numbers vary, but latest ones I've seen is around $5.6 billion. That's billion with a B. Earlier, well, a couple of weeks ago, I guess it would be now, House leadership, House and Senate leadership came together around a plan that would fix that. But this morning, just this morning, today at 9 o'clock, House Speaker Jill Krowinski said that she was going to abandon that proposal that would reform the state's pension system and instead establish a task force to come up with solutions to address the state's pension debt. The plan that Speaker Kowinski and other legislative leaders had come up with was roundly criticized by unions and public sector employees, as well as by some of the Democratic leaders in the State House, because it would have required the teachers and state employees to work longer, contribute more, and receive fewer benefits. This kind of grew the plan to fix that, which, like I said, would require those employees to contribute more and possibly hold off how soon they could retire. Grew out of an earlier proposal was brought up by State Treasurer Beth Pierce, and they built on that and came up with this plan. That basically, would require those educators and state employees to work longer, contribute more, benefit less. And under that plan, the employees would contribute more and wait longer to draw benefits. The salary amount used to calculate a retiree's benefit would also be lower. So, no big surprise, that was not exactly well received by the folks who would be asked to contribute more and get less. Quite a firestorm, one could say, broke out over this past week. And so today, Speaker Kowinski backed off of that, and it's kind of going back to the drawing board, it sounds like, for further study. Back next year, I guess, for another revisit to this, but it's certainly becoming one of the big issues, behind the whole COVID recovery situation that the legislature is working with, and clearly is a story we'll be hearing more about as we go forward. At the governor's press conference today, and more on that in just a minute, Governor Scott said he was disappointed that the plan was being shelved for the moment, and said he was willing to work with them and had been at the table. The governor had come in for a little bit of criticism around the fact that he had sort of been laying back a little bit and waiting for the House leadership to come up, the House and Senate leadership to come up with a plan. And really hadn't been playing as much of a leadership role in working out this plan as perhaps he might have, but he said, no, the majority party, it's up to them to come up with a plan. So basically, kind of back to the drawing board, I guess. There was a proposal that came up last week to raise taxes on Vermont's wealthiest taxpayers, those who reported an income of $500,000 or more. That was soundly defeated. in a legislative vote, roughly 125 to 21, I think was the rough numbers. Uh, so that course of action was rejected, at least for the time being. But I guess now we'll see what happens. Elsewhere in the virtual state house, one other bill is kind of was of interest. The Senate passed legislation on Wednesday that would send additional unemployment payments to laid off workers who have children. At the same time, delaying a projected large hike on business taxes. The the Senate approved a last-minute amendment to the proposal that would mandate that the Vermont Department of Labor issue a study in November on overpayment of unemployment benefits and also review outright fraud. The bill had drawn some criticism from business groups. It stated that as originally drawn, that it would have cost small businesses somewhere between 47 to 56 million dollars. But as I said, that tax hike on businesses has been delayed. It would come out of the unemployment taxes that businesses pay into the system, and a lot of small business owners were concerned that that was going to raise their costs at a time when many of them are struggling just to reopen. Which is a good segue, I guess, to go over to the governor's press conference. As you know, every Friday morning, starting at 11 o'clock, the governor and his team give us the latest update on COVID and take questions on other issues that may come up. And we'll go straight to the COVID update first. Big news is, I guess, starting Monday, April 5th, those of you who are 40 years old and over can start making appointments for vaccinations. 30 and over will start on April 12th, and 16 and older will start on April 19th. That's making appointments, registering to get the first jab. Also, BIPOC community members, folks who identify as Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, those folks all of those who are 16 and older can also sign up for a vaccine. That's due to the fact that members of that community have statistically shown very higher rates of cases of COVID. So, an attempt to kind of help that situation out. In terms of numbers, yesterday there were 201 new cases that were announced, which is, again, kind of heading back up to the higher numbers that we've been seeing in recent weeks. A bit of a zigzag pattern over the last week or so, but we're back up over 200 again as of yesterday. 14 of those new cases come from Bennington County, and in Bennington County over the past 2 weeks there have been 104 cases. Statewide, there are 35 people in the hospital, 2 in the ICU, and the death total now is up to 228. Just to put the case count in context by county, Chittenden County remains by far the leader in that dubious category. 72 new cases reported in Chittenden County, 72 out of those 201. I mean, 852 over the past 2 weeks. Other counties that are on the high end of the scale include Rutland County, 314 cases over the last 2 weeks. Orleans County, 198 over the last 2 weeks. Caledonia, 196, and Franklin County, 189. At the press conference today, Dr. Mark Levine, the state's health commissioner, said while he was optimistic about the future, that in the long run, between vaccinations and other measures, he felt that, we're going to get there. But he was concerned about the present, he said, and noted that the state now has a positivity rate of 2.2%, which is not bad. Plenty of places far worse, but neither is it, exceptionally great either, like we were doing for a while. He said community transmission and also spreading due to the variants of the COVID virus were largely to blame, and urged folks this Easter weekend just to be careful. Best to stay in a gathering within your own household, or if you're going to get together with other friends, do something outdoors, like an Easter egg hunt. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Um, on the vaccination front, Governor Scott announced that almost 40% of Vermonters have now received at least one dose. That translates into about 334,000 Vermonters. And Bennington County is number one in that. If you look on the state's health department's website, you'll see that Bennington County has almost 44% of its population with at least one dose, and that makes us number one. Apparently, there was going to be an announcement today about the next opening or blueprint guideline for reopening the economy, opening stores and businesses. However, the governor said they're going to hold off on that until sometime next week. They want to review the data one more time because this will be a plan that will be in place for the next 3 months, taking us almost to the 4th of July. And they just wanted to review some of that data, but something to watch out for next week. Education Secretary Dan French said that 80% of all school staff had now been vaccinated, and also noted that education guidance around how to manage kids and staff and teachers being in school has been revised and condensed down a little bit based on CDC, or Centers of Disease Control guidance. So the main difference would be that social distancing rules for kindergarten through 12th grade schools is now down to 3 feet as opposed to 6 feet. That's what it had been up to now. Also talked a little bit about state testing, assessment tests, normally required. They will be given this year, unlike last year, as some of you may remember. They were canceled when the first wave of the COVID pandemic hit. But they are going to be held this year. However, there will be some waivers, I guess you could call it. Federal law requires that states administer tests every year in math, English, and science. But this year, those tests, while they'll be given this spring, basically in the same manner as before, the results won't be used to identify low-performing schools, and schools won't face penalty if a penalty if fewer than 95% of their students participate. So the test will go on. This won't have the same impact that they normally would. I suppose that's something we can look forward to in 2022. I just wanted to mention also that if you want to see some further links to some other items or items that we mentioned and links to other stories to get more information around it, you can go to the comments section on our Facebook page, and there you'll see some links to some of those other pieces, like the pension issue that I mentioned earlier. And also on our website, you'll find more news stories there on GNAT-TV.org. A couple of pieces just posted today include one interesting discussion on free speech that we had with the head of the ACM, or Alliance for Community Media, of which GNAT's a part. We had a discussion with him and another member of the Champlain Community Television on that, sort of in connection with Free Speech Week, or excuse me, Sunshine Week. We also had another piece about a group called the Braver Angels, which I think you might find interesting. That's a nationwide group. There's a county that has been formed up in Franklin County. The idea is to try to promote more civic discourse, or at least have political discussions with people in a reasonable, rational way. And there's a Bennington County chapter forming too, led by one student from Bennington College. So you might find that kind of interesting to listen to. Anyway, okay, well, that'll do it for today. Thank you very much for being with us. Again, my name is Andrew McKeever from GNAT-TV's News Project. hope you have a great weekend and happy Easter. And well, we'll see you again next week probably. Meanwhile, have a good time and stay safe out there. Take care.